All right, welcome to the Push Forward podcast. I'm your host, Alex, and today we're going to be talking about the world of influencer and creators. And my guest is an expert in this field. She has been a creator, influencer for many, many years. And I've known Cristy for many years as well. I've gone through leadership program with her. And so she is just such a delight to have here on the podcast. And you guys are going to see why, because she's going to share the behind the scenes stories of how you can actually make money, make a living doing it. It doesn't happen overnight, but it can give you the freedom to spend more time with your family and do the things that you love. And you get some cool stuff out of it too, right, Cristy?
100%. No, it is hands down. Like we say all the time, we have the best industry ever. Like my daughter will be like, Mom, do you realize what we get to do because of your business? And like you said, it does not happen. I always tell everyone, you can make amazing money in this, but you need to be prepared for the long haul grind. My husband used to say like, oh, so did you any income producing activities? And that first year, I made minimum wage. Like, I mean, I was excited to get just a couple of dollars here and there. It takes a long time to grow an audience. And I started 10 years ago. Nobody talked about money, right? I don't know about your parents, but like my parents told me we weren't allowed to talk about money. You don't ask someone what they do for a living because it gave you an idea of how much money they made. Money was just off the table of topics to talk about. And it was so hard. And so I am on a mission to tell people how to make money in this industry because there is room for all of us. And I really believe that the rising tide lifts all boats. And if people can be professionals in this industry, then more brands are going to work with content creators and influencers.
Oh, that makes sense. So for those of you that don't know Cristy Stewart-Harfmann, you will find her on Instagram. She's got a great feed there. Of course, LinkedIn, you can connect with her and see her more professional side. She does marketing coaching. She is a professor at Florida Atlantic University. She does so many things that have integrated with her world of not only being a creator, but also building her digital marketing skills. So I want to kind of go back to the beginning real quick and talk about the Happy Family blog and why you positioned it that way versus me, Cristy, the creator. So talk to us about that.
Of course. So, like I said, I started 10 years ago and I worked for an agency. And at the time, I worked 100-hour weeks. I loved it. I thought we would joke that I was going to give birth in the office and then keep working the moment my daughter was born because I loved it. We had like a Mad Men setup. We had a bar in our office. We would go out for coffee. It was like a movie. It was amazing. And there was a moment in time when I thought, corporate life is my life, right? This is how I'm going to live. And I embraced it and loved it. But the second those children come into this world, that 100-hour week and leaving, I would leave my daughter and she would still be sleeping. We would have a nanny come and then I would get home from work and she would already be asleep. And so I was missing her entire life. And I just thought, this cannot be how we live. Like, how can this be? So my husband and I had some difficult conversations and I said, I think I want to be a stay-at-home mom. And then he said, okay, if you're a stay-at-home mom, then these are the things in our lifestyle that go away. And then I was like, oh, I want to have the flexibility and freedom of a stay-at-home mom, but I don't want to give up traveling and our home and all these things that were luxuries when you have a dual income household. And so there was one girl in town and she had a blog and I knew that she was making some money. But again, like I sat down with her and talked a little, she wouldn't really tell me how she was making money. So I was like, I'm going to try this blogging thing. At the time, Instagram wasn't even really a thing. We were blogging. And so I started it because I wanted to have a happy family. I wanted to show people how they could slow down from this crazy world and do easy recipes and crafts and travel and really just take what I was doing on the day to day with my daughter and be able to share it with the world to inspire other people to slow down and to really help them find the joy in these everyday moments because we just lack joy, right? There's just not enough joy in this world. So at the beginning, it was literally me just filming. Oh my, I look back at these photos. They are so horrific. I used to like put my logo in the middle of the photos because I was worried people were going to steal them, but the images are terrible. Nobody was stealing them. And I had no idea what I was doing. And I think that is like the most beautiful thing. And a friend always says, start messy. And I think that that's exactly what I did. Me today would have never posted the stuff 10 years ago me posted, but I'm so grateful I did, because I wouldn't be where I am today if I had gotten to that analysis paralysis where you want everything to be perfect before you start. There are things that I would change, possibly, like
Sure.
learning SEO, right? Learning SEO would have been the first thing I would do if I could go back in time. But I'm just so grateful that I just took that step and moved, even though it was ugly and it was
Ab-
slow.
Absolutely. But at the end of the day, I think that's the misconception with not only small businesses, but even in the creator world, that everyone is chasing the big influencers as far as like the metrics, in terms of, we talk here in the Push Forward podcast about the different levels of influencer or creator, and the fact that it's a lot like a business, the entrepreneurial journey, in that, you could be a one person show and generate a lot of income, and because you have different lines of businesses, different streams of income coming through, and so you have to look at it that way and compare the world of being a creator or an influencer, and talk about monetization and how long it's going to take to get there. And like for you, the consistency that I've seen, as you've mentioned, 10 years, it didn't happen overnight, and you positioned, though you didn't know in the beginning, right? You were looking more for a side hustle to do from home and whatnot. But I think that you understanding like the need for SEO, the need to stay consistent, you truly
Mm-hmm.
ran it like a business. So talk to us about that, because I believe there are so many in the world of creators and influencers who are spinning their wheels for many, many years, and they're looking for those big metrics, and they never get there or get the sponsorships or partnerships, because they're not doing the hard work of being consistent. They're just kind of looking for that one viral moment, which is, it doesn't happen for most people.
Right. And even if it does happen, it doesn't always bring in the customers that you want, right? So Kurt, my husband, just started a brand new travel channel for us. It's called Happy Family Blog Travels. Because one thing that is amazing when you're starting is you really do need to find a niche, right? Which is just a subject that you want to talk about. And
Mhm.
they say the riches are in the niches, right? You want to be niched down as small as you can be, because it's much easier to grow. I had that advice and chose to go against it with Happy Family Blog. And I think that for me, it has not, it's stopped me from growing to be like a mega influencer. Like I'm not going to reach 1 million followers, and that's okay, because for me, it allowed me to bring in all the things that I found joy in: recipes, DIYs, travel. But if you really want to grow and be a much larger influencer, niching down is really the way to go. And now is one of the best times after 2020 to be growing on Instagram and TikTok. And you really need to find a topic that you are so passionate about that you can talk about it forever and never. So travel is a big piece for us. And Kurt has started this new account, and we have recently gone viral on a Peppa Pig um, video, which is adorable. And if you haven't been to Peppa Pig Land, it's in Central Florida, and it's like walking into the TV show. And we're so excited to just hit 6 million views. We have
That's
the
fantastic.
it's incredible. But what you see is the goal should never be to go viral, because what we're finding is it's gone viral and now it's reached people outside of the US. And we really want a US audience. And the reason I'm so focused on a US audience is because brands want to be working with content creators who have US audiences.
Mhm.
And that is a big question that we get asked. And now only the account's very small, but only 45% of our audience is US based, because we
Okay.
went viral and we're getting all these people in other countries. So I feel like people so often, like you said, their goal is to go viral. And that's not the game, right?
It's
The
not
game,
sustainable, because you can't do it over and over and over again. I mean, even the large, I mean, let's say athletes, take athletes, actors, musicians. These are pretty much like three groups of people that when they reach that level of, like, let's say like a Taylor Swift. I mean,
right.
even a Taylor Swift is going to have certain posts that do nothing compared to her like biggest ones, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we're all busy. I mean, they're being bombarded with ads and content from every corner. And so I definitely agree with you. So for those who are listening, the approach to being niche is the key to success. And like you, Cristy, I've experienced that over time as well, that sometimes being too broad and trying to appease everyone
Mhm.
makes your content a little bit less worthy of engagement, right?
Right. Or just worthy of the algorithm pushing it out to people, right?
Well,
So
that
that's
too.
and I feel like that's the game that we live in. And that is also the SEO game, right? The more niche down and the more links back you have and post work better. So, I mean, really finding a niche is, I think, the most important thing first, right? Find something that you're really, really passionate about. And then, two, like you said, treat it like a business. I have so many friends that think that this is not a business and they think that
Right.
we're just having fun with it while
Yes.
we are having a blast, and this is 100% the best industry, and I wouldn't change it for the world, my family is working, right? When we've got 6 trips planned right now in the next month. And the kids know when we get somewhere, they've got to be on camera, they're doing all their stuff, and then we'll relax, right? Once we get all of our shots. But everyone in our house knows that this is a business. This is not just
Right.
fun. They need to be on. They need, even if they're not feeling it, they need to be on. And that's hard. But when you treat it like a business, then everyone around you starts to treat it like a business and really understand. And everyone right now wants you to do things for free. And you need to decide where, what point you say, like, listen, this is a business. Like, I oftentimes respond to people like, this is my full-time business. Like, I
Right.
cannot be doing things for free as much as I want
Mhm.
to support you and be a part of what you're doing. And I think you're fabulous. This is my business. And we have to remember that what we're saying yes to means that we're saying no to something else and really figuring out, like, okay, what do we need to stay with so that we can run this like a business and truly not have people just think we're just posting on Instagram and it's just for fun, because it is fun, but it is not for fun, right? The goal
Ab-
is to
Absolutely,
be
to grow it. I love that you said that, to treat two things, A, to treat it as a business, but also the need to say no, right? Because if you say yes to every opportunity, just because it's going to bring you maybe some traffic, maybe a new audience and whatnot. It's the same thing here with the podcast, the Push Forward podcast. When I reach out to different people, I really respect their time, especially if they're creators, influencers, because I know you could be just about anywhere. And so, which is why we appreciate you taking the time to be here with us, because you're taking time out of your day to be with your audience, which is, again, why I really wanted to get you on here, because you're doing everything the right way. And I've been able to see your growth and your success, and how you are happy in what you are doing, but still staying true to yourself. And I love as a parent that you're able to incorporate that entrepreneurial spirit for the kids. I mean, talk to me
Mhm.
about that, and how did the kids, like, how did they deal with the daily, you guys are a media company ultimately, right? Like,
We
you've
are.
gotten to the point where at some point maybe you exit, maybe you sell the entire brand to another company, I don't
Mhm.
know, but
Yeah.
how does that work daily?
So that to me has been the greatest gift of this, is that my kids understand what it's like to run a business. My son is only 3, so for him, although you'll see we do PR packages and he'll be like, "Hey guys, we bought a new bot." I mean, he's 3 and he knows the spiel and he's got it right because he sees us doing it. But my daughter would like to run her own Instagram account, and this is the really difficult part about this world, right?
Mm,
So I allow her to be on mine because I can monitor it and I make sure, I don't use her full name. I don't say where she goes to
absolutely.
school. We post when we travel, we post when we are already back, and then it's
Mhm.
delayed posting so people don't know exactly where we are. I have all of these security pieces in mind.
Mm.
And so it's really, really difficult as a parent because you're trying to figure out how do you, like you said, how do I encourage this entrepreneurial spirit but
I
protect
know.
them, right? Because she's like, well, I could be on your Instagram. Like, why can't I have my own TikTok? And I'm like, good point. But because you're going to mindlessly scroll, and that's not what you
Yeah,
need to be doing. But she has seen that this is really a business. And I have taught her that literally with this, you can run a 6-figure business. And it is
absolutely.
wild, right? This is the greatest time to be alive. If you think
And
about what you had to do in the past to make this kind of money, it's
oh, for
real.
sure. I love it. The whole creator economy in general, whether you're a creator, I'm not into gaming, but I know people who do the streaming on Twitch. And while I'm not into gaming, I can appreciate the art of what they're doing and narrating
Hmm.
and all of that, or whether it's podcasting or YouTubing, or in your case, Instagram and TikTok. So there are different ways. Now, talk to us. I mean, we could do a 24-hour podcast on monetization strategies, but we don't have that kind of time. So talk to us about top ways to monetize once you get going. Obviously not
Hmm.
on day one, probably
Right.
not even in the first year, but okay. Once you get really going and you're consistent and you've honed in on not only your type of content, but also your audience, talk to me
Hmm.
about like top monetization strategies, and also what you can expect depending on the type of partnerships, like in terms of dollar amount.
Okay, definitely. So I think the best thing to think about is that you should have 7 streams of income.
Okay.
And that is the goal. And when you're starting out, you oftentimes want to focus on one. So I think if you're starting out brand new, the best one to focus on would be affiliate marketing,
Mm.
which is, and you know what it is, but I'll define it for people that don't, which is simply a partnership between you and another company in which you promote the products and they click on your link, and then you get paid a commission, a small amount of that. No additional cost to the person who bought the product, but you've introduced the product to those people. And people can make amazing money with affiliate marketing with a pretty small audience. And
Absolutely.
that's why you see these women and men who are like, fashion is a big one that everyone thinks about, but travel has affiliate programs. If you have a travel account, you can be doing affiliate programs for luggage or for trips themselves and then getting paid a commission. There is so much opportunity with affiliate marketing. There is a program called Like to Know It, which allows you to link almost any product online. You do have to have, I don't know what their minimums are today. They have a minimum amount of followers that you need to have on Instagram in order to be accepted to the program. But Amazon is a great place to start. Their affiliate program is easy. And let's be honest, they sell like almost every
Everything.
product, right?
Yeah.
They sell
Yeah.
everything.
It's hard not to
Um,
want to be there because people are there. So
that's exactly, and that was Bailey. She's like going through all these different ideas. We were working on like a drop shipping company, and then she's like, I want to do Amazon affiliates. Like everything I buy is from Amazon anyway. And people want to see someone literally unboxing it, right? And showing what it looked like. How do I put it together? What are the best features? And so Amazon's affiliate program is a fabulous place to start. And then as you start to get your footing as a creator, for me, a large percent of my income comes from working with brands. So, sponsorships with brands, which simply means that a brand hires you to create content for them that you're going to post on your channels to promote whatever product. So,
mhm.
this week we worked with Blue Bunny Ice Cream and Kroger. And so they told us what they wanted us to do. This was an interesting one. They had this whole campaign about 90s glam photo shoots. So they wanted us to do a 90s glam photo shoot, eating ice cream, and just show like the joy that comes from eating ice cream and having a throwback, which was a blast. I ordered all
That
sorts of
sounds like
props.
fun, eating ice cream and
Right? The kids loved it. Taking pictures is one of their favorite things to do. Ice cream is one of their favorite things. We ordered like 7
boom.
different types of ice cream, and so we ordered all the products on Amazon for all the little props. And but those type of partnerships pay very well, but generally it's all about how many followers you have. So
Okay.
at the beginning when I started out, someone would offer me $200 and I would be like, yay, right? At the beginning, every dollar is a great dollar. But you start to figure out sort of what your rates are.
Okay.
When you're first starting, there's a couple different places to find partnerships with brands.
Okay.
They're called sponsor networks. So
Mhm.
these are websites that connect a creator or an influencer with the brand.
Mhm.
And I used to say, like, I'm addicted to the sponsor networks, which sounds like so silly, but they are the easiest way to get paid campaigns because the brand literally says, and the one I just talked about is from a sponsor network. So they literally said, this is what we want you to do. And then you can create your pitch around it. They tell you when it's due, how much they're going to pay, what products are included. So all you need to do is come up with a creative pitch of what you're going to do
Mhm.
and sell yourself to the brand as why you're the best fit. And when you're
Wonderful.
selling yourself to the brand, you're actually not selling you. you're selling your audience because they are trying to get to your audience. And so you can use insights from Instagram or Google Analytics to say, my audience is X% male or female. How many people are from the US? If it's a local campaign, what percentage is from your area? And you are selling your audience and who they are and what they resonate with most, because this game is all about reach. And the more people we can reach and influence, it's going to be because they're going to engage with the content. So I'm always selling, hey, the ice cream campaign is perfect because my audience loves desserts. They love family fun. It was like a combo activity that worked really well for my audience. And so you're selling your audience as you're trying to get these jobs on the sponsor networks. And there are hundreds of them now. You figure out the ones that work for you, because as you start to get a relationship, there's one sponsor network that I know almost every single time I apply, I'm going to get it because I've done a great job for them. And some people set the bar really, really low, right? Because some people get the job and then don't do the work. Like, we're still in this industry, like you said, where people
Yes.
are
It's a
still like,
business.
it has to be a business. There are deadlines, there are deliverables, there are campaign briefs. You need to follow what they're asking for. And some people just
Yeah. Don't do it.
don't.
They want that easy money. And so I think
Yes.
that's something that's very important for listeners who are, considering entering that world of the, creator influencer, is that you have to love doing it. You really do. And it
Every day.
comes through
Yeah.
when you see it. I can see when I come across a certain personality, or, whether it's fitness or anything else, especially business. I follow a lot of people in business, and you could tell within 2 seconds if what they're promoting is BS.
Right.
Even if I'm actually have some affinity to that particular, product or service, but the person speaking, I'm like, I'm not buying it. Okay. I'm just not buying it, because you can see through them that they're just doing so many, because it's just it's just about the money, right?
Which it can't be. Yeah.
And we're not all Shaq, right? Like, Shaq is
Right.
everywhere. You think about like Shaq. I always think of Shaq early on in like the advertising world. Like, gosh, Shaq was everywhere. Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, like these guys. But that's totally different, because they spent decades building their brand, their personal brand through sports. I mean, that's not what most influencers or creators are. So if you're promoting, and I see this often, I wonder what you think about this, to give our listeners this advice. What about competing brands? Because to me, when I'm thinking of specifically someone that I know who markets multiple nutritional products competing, and it's just the messaging is everywhere. So
It is.
talk to me about that.
So a lot of brands actually have something called exclusivity, which is in your contract that says that you cannot work with competitors within X number of days. So even in the travel space, the hotel we're going to this weekend gave me a list of 4 hotels that we can't work with within 30 days.
Okay.
So I like when a brand spells it out for you, right? And makes it very clear and puts it into the contract. I do think, though, from a creator perspective, you need to think about charging additional money for that, because if you have an exclusivity clause, that means that you may lose out on other opportunities to work with brands. And so I always charge extra when someone has an exclusivity clause. Now, what you're talking about is more like the ethical piece of it. And I think that really depends. So for me, and you and I talked about brand loyalty the other day, like Coke and Pepsi, like, I'm not terribly brand loyal. I don't really drink either one of them that much, but I'm not like the most brand loyal to those. And so I work with both of them. So I think it really depends on the person and what the product is. If they are competing products, there needs to be some space between it. And maybe there's a different like spin as to why. Like, maybe this product you love because of XYZ reasons, and then this product you like in a different situation. You really need to, one, be totally honest. And like you said, people can smell when someone is lying. And authenticity is the most important part of this game. And when people are inauthentic, people come for them, right? I mean, and
Yes.
they come hard. And
Yes.
it is not pretty.
You can't just buy followers, right?
Oh, well,
Which,
that's a whole nother game. Yeah, you
we,
definitely do not want to buy followers.
That's right. That's right. I
Oh,
can't explain how long I've told people that. And to be honest, look, I've had not only brands, but even companies that I've had my hand in. have someone on a marketing team or an agency buy followers without me knowing, and then me go look at it and go, why did you do that? Like, that is not how you, first of all, there's no revenue that's going to come out of that. Number one. Number two, you're not going to game the algorithm. They know what you're doing. They know the IP address. They know everything. So it's really pointless, and you accomplish nothing by doing that. So I'm not going to go down this rabbit hole, because we could do a whole episode.
We could do a whole podcast
because it's the opposite. And it's the opposite of authenticity, right, Cristy? So I've taken so many notes. I know our listeners here are probably like, oh my God, you gave us a masterclass on the foundation, not just the basics, but the foundation of building a business around being an influencer. So we so appreciate your time. Tell us how we can find you and the Happy Family blog, and where.
Of course. So like you said, across all social channels, we are Happy Family Blog. And then our website is happyfamilyblog.com. I have a class on how to make money working with brands if anyone's interested. And I am working on a program of how to work with brands from a travel capacity. So, and some of that includes UGC Creative, which is another revenue stream, which is where people are creating content for a brand directly that they're never posting on their own channels. And UGC is a fabulous place for people to get started when they're first starting in this industry, because what you need to prove is that the content that you create is high quality. You don't have to say that you have any influence on anyone. You don't even have to have an audience. And so brands need that, especially travel brands need that, because they need to have content. You know, you and I both know how difficult it is to create a content calendar, because it is time consuming. So hotels and Airbnbs and resorts are willing to pay and also work in exchange for that. And so it's a really fabulous opportunity. And there's UGC opportunities across the board in all niches.
Well, once again, Cristy, thank you so much for being on the podcast. I know our listeners are going to get a lot out of this episode, and we'll definitely, if you say yes, have you back at some point to give us some more like golden nuggets. These are like value bombs. I mean, I can't stress enough how much value you've provided to our listeners here. So thank you so much.
Of course. I'm always happy to be with you. Thank you.
You're welcome. And for our listeners, keep listening, subscribe, review, give us reviews. Of course, that's how this ecosystem works, and keep pushing forward with your content.